In this video, we'll be taking your McFarlane Space Marine / Sisters of Battle / whatever you like from clean and perfect to grim dark. And I'm going to show you step by step how to do it. These just easily pull apart. You can put them in a warm bath of hot water for a few minutes. I did not have to do that. I'm taking their feet, their legs, their backpacks, their chests, all their arms, and then I'm taking these parts off. Some may be separate. It's fine to keep it together like this, but the first step is to do this. Next step is grab your white, any white will do, grab your makeup brush, and we're just going to dry brush everything on the model except for the cloth. Everything else except for the cloth, I guess the gold and a little bit of silver, we're not going to dry brush white, but pretty much everything else is going to be a nice dry brush white. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. We're going to do a light dry brush. Here's that fairly light dry brush over the whole model. This is what it looks like on the backpack. We're going to do it on basically everything except for the cloth and the gold / silver. Here's what that dry brush looks like. It looks a little dusty on the leg plates, but don't worry about that because when we do the final sauce solution, that kind of all goes away and gets put in there. Plus, we're going to be doing some battle damage. Not to worry about that. Next step is we're going to take an orange. You can take any kind of like hot orange. I'm using like this trash orange, and we're just going to dust the highlights. Basically, we're doing a dry brush on all of the red parts right now. So that's what we're going to do next. Same thing we did here. We're just going to do a light dry brush of orange just to hit those highlights. Here's a look at that red highlight. Super subtle. I mean the orange highlight, but it is highlighting the red. Super subtle. Not a big deal, but it does add a lot to the final model. All right, the next step is we're just going to take whatever kind of gunmetal silver you have, and we're going to do a little accoutrements with it. So there's 2 grenades on here and a little belt buckle that I am going to paint silver. I'm going to put 2 buttons on those with some silver. They're already buttons. I'm just going to put some silver on it. And then all of these beads on here, I'm just going to hit with silver. I'm just going to dot them, so you don't have to go crazy on that. On the chest piece, on the back, they did not paint these tubes, so I'm going to do those tubes, silver. And then on this back piece, I painted these spiky bits on each of the side, silver. I'm going to do the exhaust here, this little metal plate, and then I'm going to do this exhaust here and this little plate here, silver. And then I'm going to put silver on these 4 little bolts. That's it for silver on the model. We're going to use it to weather a little bit, but there's not a whole lot that you actually need to do to the rest of the model for silver, so should be able to knock this out real quick. All right, the metal's all done. Now on these, the back little Inquisition symbol is not done, so I also did that one, but you can see we did all the metals. Next step is I'm going to do a little bit of weathering on just the white parts on here, so the knees, the face mask, and the 2 shoulder pauldrons. What we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of this mud brown and a little bit of this whole red. We're going to take a little bit of sponge like this and use a tweezer. We're going to dunk a little bit in, and then we're going to just gently dab on the white. We're going to do very little of this. We're going to try to make it look like dirt and grime. We're also going to do this with silver after this over pretty much the whole model. The reason why we're just doing brown on the white is because it just doesn't show up on the black. So you can just save that step. The effect is pretty subtle, just putting a little bit on here. I did forget to mention I am going to be doing a little bit of dotting on those. We did also, I did see, I'm going to paint the ear pieces on these things. on the head silver as well. So I'm going to paint those silver, and then we're going to go on to the weathering with the silver, which we're going to use the same method pretty much all over the armor. We're going to be really focusing on areas that would be more weathered. So hands, anywhere there was edges on here, the boots, backpacks, anywhere where you see where you would expect more damage to be done, we're going to put a little bit heavier sponging of the silver. All right, I'm going up and I've hit this with the sponge. As you can see, looking pretty good. At this point, I'm going to let these dry, and then we're going to put them together again. Once they're together again, we're going to use, you can use two different kinds of things, actually three. Vallejo has one, Streaking Grime, AK Interactive, Streaking Grime, and then also MIG has some. I have leftover AK Interactive, so that's what I will be using. I know there's a little bit of controversy over that, but I've had it for a while, so I'm using it up because there's no point in just throwing it out. But yeah, we'll get all of these done and put together once they dry, and we'll start the next part. Should have something that looks kind of like this when you're done. We've got 2 steps left. First off, we're going to wash the gold with a flesh wash, and then we're going to wash the whole model with the Streaking Grime. I'm going to go ahead and do the flesh wash. You can use any flesh wash you want. I use the GW flesh wash. It's pretty quick. Just wipe it on, wipe it off, done. And time for the magic step. You're going to use your Streaking Grime / whatever you're choosing to use. There's the Streaking Grime from Vallejo, and there's another one from MIG. This one and the MIG, I think, you need to have mineral spirits. I think it's like low scent mineral spirits, just to clean your brushes, and because this will react with water. You don't want to do that. It's not water soluble. You're going to cover the whole thing with this stuff, and then each section that you're going to do, you're going to take a cotton bud, or you're going to take a little makeup brush. You can get these on Amazon, like a big chunk of them, really cheap. But you're going to use mostly the Q-tips. They're going to take off most of the color. Anything that you want to be really close to the base color, where the grime would have been worn off, you can use this. This takes a lot of the Streaking Grime off. So you need to be careful with how much you take. If you take too much, just put it back on. If you only have cotton buds, that's not a big deal. You can use the cotton buds to clean off whatever you need. And then if you want more, you can put a little bit of mineral spirits on this, or if you're using the water soluble one, you can put some water, and then you can use. Next up were the weapons. We're going to be using a Bloody Red by Vallejo Game Color. All we're going to do is color the red here on this part, and we're going to cover the bolter casing. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now with the next step done. So basically just doing that and that for the red. And we'll be back when those are all done. Okay, so we've got the red on the weapons. The next step that we're going to be doing is grabbing your friend and mine a little piece of sponge, and you are going to use some of that silver we used before, and you're just going to lightly sponge on a few areas on the red. So it looks something like that. Put the magic wash on, and it's going to look like this for you. You're just going to wipe off the excess, but at the end you'll have some nice worn weapons. For the blades, I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of the sponging on the I don't know what this is called, like the front, the handguard. And then I've still got to wash this one, but you can see how it looks on the red. So we're going to wash that with our magic wash, which is the Streaking Grime, and they'll be all set to go. It's very simple to get them looking a lot better. All right, now with the sponging, everything should get to this point, and then you're going to put the magic wash on, and it's going to look like that, and that. It'll look nice and grimy with the other model. So I suggest that you do one side and then the other, just because they're such flat pieces. It's kind of annoying to deal with it otherwise. But yeah, we'll be back with all this done. And the last step is just going to be to, like with the figures, is to put some sealant on it, and then it'll be done. And then we just got to work on the bases, which would be another video probably. So we got the magic sauce on. You can see you just be a little bit I guess directed about where you want to leave the mud and dirt that's going to be following through. You can see I've just completed the whole model here. Left some streaking with that previous battle damage that we left on there. It looks really good and realistic. This will dry really similar. Here's the dry one. So you can see this is what you'll be left with. Instead of a bright shiny model, you're gonna have a grim dark action figure to play your kill teams with, right? Yeah, of course. Just so you can see all the ones I've got here. The last step is going to be to let these dry for about 2 days, and then you're going to want to go ahead and seal it. You can use your favorite sealer to get these. It doesn't really mess with the movability or posability of these models, but it will protect the paint and stop it from chipping, rubbing off. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I can't wait to get these out on the table.